Hey crafty friends, it's Kelly. Thanks for joining me. I am back with a new layout for Hip Kit Club. I am once again creating a layout based off of one of our Hip Kit Club Facebook forum sketches. This is the sketch for this week. As you can see, the sketch calls for a really large photo, and I don't tend to scrapbook a lot of large photos. So I was going through my stash trying to figure out what I could use because I don't have a convenient way to print a large photo. And when I first started scrapbooking, I did scrapbook quite a few 5x7s, and I came across this photo from 2011, and it's not quite as large as what the sketch calls for, but it's definitely a lot larger than the typical photo that I would use. Okay, so getting back to the layout, I've positioned a few of the papers and a few of the embellishments from the January 2017 kits, and I'll go into that a little bit more in detail a little later on in the video, but now I'm going to start working on my title. I'm going to use the canvas alphas that come in the, I believe it's the embellishment kit, and a few of the oil pastels that we received in a color kit a few months ago. And I'm just going to mix a few colors and use my finger to rub the color onto those canvas alphas to change them to a blue color. I really wanted to try to get a true navy, so I'm mixing blue with black, and then I do bring in a darker blue and add that into the mix also, just to try to get a little bit more, I guess you could say, richness to the color, just to make it more of a true navy. I do have to apply this color a few times to get the coverage that I want and to get the intensity of the color the way that I like. Now, one tip that I have for you, if you're nervous about using these alphas because you're worried that the color won't transfer onto the canvas the way that you hope, is just to grab a letter that you wouldn't necessarily use. Q would be a great example for me. Very rarely do I use that letter. You could just grab that letter, whatever it may be, and just use it as a trial run. That's a great way to see if the color or the medium that you're planning on using will transfer onto the canvas the way that you hope. Okay, so I'm starting to adhere down my layers of pattern paper. I did add some hand stitching to each of those gray lines in that large pattern paper that I'm using. You'll be able to see that a little better in the close-ups. But that little bit of blue that I have peeking out on the left-hand side is from one of the Pink Paisley Moonstruck pattern papers. And then the other two pattern papers that I have on the layout are Hip Kit Club exclusive pattern papers. The cork shapes that I have on the layout are from the One Canoe 2 Hazelwood collection, and those are included in the Project Life kit. I am bringing in a few of the exclusive wood veneers that are included in the main kit. I'm going to use 3 of the circles with the hearts cut out of the center. I did add a heart ephemera piece from the Moonstruck collection, and then I also added one of the One Canoe 2 Hazelwood paper clips. I just slid it right onto that heart ephemera piece down on the bottom left-hand cluster. I'm going to start to bring in the title, which is This Boy Loves Trains, and it still wasn't quite as blue as I wanted it to be, so I'm going to add another layer of color using the oil pastels. Okay, so I am fairly new to the ATG world. I just got this adhesive gun for Christmas, and no matter how I load this thing, the adhesive always makes its way out to the very far left-hand side, and I'm always worried that it's going to slip off. I'm not sure if this is something that's normal or if maybe there's a user error and I'm just not loading it correctly. I've tried loading it a couple different times, and I tried positioning it a little bit more towards the center, and it always works its way out to that edge. So please let me know in the comments below if it's normal, if it's not normal, and you have any tips or tricks. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so now I'm going to start working on adhering down all of the embellishments, and I do use liquid adhesive for pretty much all of those pieces. I did notice that when I was trying to adhere the wood veneer to those cork shapes, that it didn't want to stick very well. I actually had to apply liquid adhesive a couple times and make sure that I held some pressure there for a little bit in order to get the liquid adhesive to set on those cork shapes. I'm not sure if it's what is used to print on those cork shapes that the adhesive just did not want to stick very well. But after I applied some pressure, it did stick and everything is adhered fully to the layout now. I'm going to use my T-square ruler just to make sure that this title is straight as I'm adhering it down to the layout. I am going to use liquid adhesive. A few of the sticky backs pulled off of those alpha letters, and because of the hand stitching that I have on the layout, I just wanted to make sure that they were fully adhered, and I just thought liquid adhesive would be the best way to do that. I typed up my journaling and cut it into a strip, and I'm going to adhere it to the right hand side of the layout. I am going to bring in a couple of the Hip Kit Club exclusive washi strips, and those are included in the embellishment kit this month. I'm going to add my date. Because this photo was taken so long ago, I actually had to use 2 date stamps because the one date stamp that I wanted to use didn't go back that far in time. So I used the month from one stamp and then I used the year from another. And I just added that right next to the journaling. So at this point, I just really feel like it's missing something. I feel like it just looks a little boring and I'm not really sure what to bring in. So I grab a few of these triangle enamel shapes and I add those, but they don't end up making it onto the layout. I end up pulling those off a little later on. I think about adding another washi strip, but I couldn't really find any place for it to fit. So now I'm going to start going through a few more of the ephemera pieces from the Moonstruck collection. And I end up adding this scallop border piece that is actually from the exclusive die cut pack that is in the embellishment kit, I believe. And I end up adding a feather from the Moonstruck ephemera pack right next to that cork hexagon. Okay, so while I am finishing adding just some odds and ends to the layout, I just want to give you a little bit of background on the photo that I'm using today. This photo was taken when Aiden would have been 3, and at this age, he was obsessed with all things trains. And my grandma lives fairly close to a set of train tracks, and there's actually an overpass that goes over this set of tracks. So there's a concrete area that we would take him to where he could sit and watch the trains go by, and he loved it. He could have stayed there for hours just watching the trains. And it actually looks like he's a lot closer to the tracks in this photo than what he really is. I think it's just the angle that the photo was taken. But when I saw this photo, all those memories came back and it just really warmed my heart. And I just love this picture of Aiden and my husband just watching this train go by. It just captures him so perfectly at that age because it was just something that he loved so much. Okay, so at this point, the layout is pretty much done. I have one little area that I need to add a little bit more hand stitching, and I'm just gonna bring it close to the camera so you can see it in detail. You can see the hand stitching there. I did add a sticker from the One Canoe 2 Hazelwood collection, and that sticker sheet is included in the Project Life kit. I did also add some enamel dots off camera, which you will see in the still shots that are coming up right now. And those are actually from the Simple Stories Posh collection that we received in a kit a few months ago. There you can see all the texture from those canvas alphas, and then there's just a few more still shots. Please head over to the Hip Kit Club Facebook forum so you can check out this week's sketch and all the other design team girls' interpretations. I'll be back again very soon with another layout and process video. Thank you so much for watching.